Hi, welcome to this news political broadcast. I'm Chris. I would like to explain the long hair. I'm not a hippie. Um, my hair growing out for wigs for kids. I heard the locks for love isn't exactly um, as respectable of a um, donation place that you can donate your hair to for people and children. So I donate my hair to um, the Wigs for Kids Foundation. I did two. This will be my third one. I do 12 inches, so I'm going to do five altogether, and that's a complete wig. So don't take your eye off the ball. How distracted are they, the politicians even, the liberal Democrats that everybody's sold on? How distracted are they, and how invasive are they? Do you not see how invasive they are with what they think is the right of people's rights in the law? They can abuse other people's opinions and rights where they can beat them down with the law now over somebody's opinion and their freedom of speech and everything else is it's all too um I'd say disgusting and intolerable how liberals do that. And that it's always an issue on how they back people up because it's a political thing, so they're going to push it with politics to back people up into a corner. That's just the way it is and what they're going to do. So, um, I wanted to, we'll move right along, but I'm going to do a screen share here. I'm going to show people this guy right here. Great guy. Montel Williams. So part of why I titled this "Don't Take Your Eye Off the Ball," because there's all these different people that want to be president right now. A lot of different people that are in, and they would still, even if they do all the right things, they could still miss some of the right things. That is very direly important, and I think Mr. Williams. I'm gonna give all my respect to a guy like that who does not be distracted so much that he cannot remember a U.S. Marine that's held prisoner in Iran over bullshit, over pure bullshit. So free our Marine. Thank you, Montel Williams. I asked him. I asked him before. Why don't you become president, Mr. Williams? Everybody likes you. You know, they probably all vote for you, but maybe he doesn't really want the job. Maybe he sees there's a dire need for somebody to be really super responsible, even though he is and seems to be. He doesn't want to take that responsibility on, and maybe wants to wait and support somebody else, maybe. But I do appreciate his acts of kindness. It was brilliant. It's brilliant. That's all I can. Don't take your eye off the ball. Remember our people who sacrifice, and they're everywhere, all over the place. And don't let them be scattered. So, I don't know what the answer is um, with the war in Iraq. You're darned if you do, darned if you don't concept. If we wouldn't have done the Iraq invasion, we would have been destined to be damned for it, for not making the move up to this point. So, and now you see how damned we are for taking a liberal, completely liberal position, pulling our guys out of Iraq. because now it's now it is a fact one of the top five most dangerous places in the world. So tell me there's not terrorists there. And anybody who tries to say that there's were no terrorists in Iraq and Saddam wasn't funding them, tell me about all of the the ransom money, all of the money that has been extorted, laundered, that they found, also money that they in notes and documents that they found of Saddam paying families to blow themselves up on Israelis and commit other terrorist acts. So tell me, Saddam Hussein himself wasn't a terrorist. That's a fraud. It's a lie. And they also found plenty of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. So they're completely off and had to make up uh, rumors and stories and this and that about George Bush and Republicans and conservatives who would stomp terrorists, stop them and stomp them out. They just want to have their liberal president come in here for as long as they can until people wake up and realize what liberalism really means these days. That it doesn't really mean helping people out for the better good. It means helping terrorists out and then on the same time just help people out for a political cause just to try to make yourself look good whenever you're completely distracted as a government on all of your true responsibilities. Freeing people, saving people, keeping people safe, making sure people don't act up. Um, a real true like Christian society was meant to be where people are free to come and go. They can be an atheist if they want, but they don't really argue with religion. They can be religion all they want, but in a modern sense where people don't act crazy, and that's justifiable. That's not giving something that they don't deserve, or oh, they lived in peace for a certain amount of time, like we're going to now. We're going to have to face the consequences for being irrational in the world and um, you know, catering to the terrorists instead of fighting them from a liberal standpoint of what it means today. And then here at home, distracting people with mess after mess after mess, so that you can then blame the Constitution as a liberal for why these people have to abuse their rights over other people, you know. But I did not ever say that people shouldn't be given their rights and freedoms and to be tolerated. I just didn't want them to recognize them in a marriage. Is there some other way you could do it? Yes, there was. I'm sure with lawyers, and other state stuff like that, state to state, like you'd send a parolee goes to another state, he has to ask for permission. Well, you don't have to be all like that if you're gay, but definitely don't take a Christian or religious practice. It's not necessarily Christian, it's just a religious practice. I don't know all the other religions, but I know that it basically means a man and a wife. It doesn't mean uh, a man and a man, something that basically derives from being a flake and goofing off and being faked and fooled out about how you're supposed to live your life. You can live it however you want, but you take your freedom too far, is what you did. So that's how you wind up being different than who you are, and being a man, finding the right woman, or a woman likewise. And people are stuck up or whatever else these days, so they make it all too hard for one another, and then they want to blame each other or act like the other person's at fault when everybody's human. So there's no fault in every fault, and people have gone completely bazonker. So the terrorists would come here and kill everybody, slaughter every man, woman, and child in this place. while the liberals continually disarmed society, disarmed our military when Bill Clinton was in there. So that was something Obama didn't have to do, or another Democrat now. They already did that to our military. Proved to be a fatal move, you know. And if you're a person like the Clintons, you weren't anti-war. They took a anti-American position before all of us were even born. Most of us were born to this day, you know, before we were born, years before, back in their day, in their time. They weren't anti-Vietnam, or they wouldn't be anti-Iraq. They are anti-American establishment. It's the kind of change they want, but it's not for the better. People don't research that, what they're really negotiating, what they really want, and now it's making, obviously it's another biblical context there. They're making the rich richer and the poor poor, and the poor need to come graciously to, because you can't possibly do anything without the government, without the rich, and without our support, because you're so poor and so needy and so help wanting and needy. Because I think if you did it all for yourself, you wouldn't need us, because you would die. I mean, that's Obama. It was like filled himself up. And Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and all of them filled themselves up with lies, with real nasty lies on how to politic from where they're coming from and what it means to be a liberal today. So completely, I don't even know if they even know what the ball is, where the ball's going, and how to even respond to focusing on the ball and catching the ball and going running with the ball and maintaining the ball and not taking their eye off the ball. I don't think it's in the liberals' ability to do that. So is Obama the best president in the sense where he's gonna wake everybody's ass up and everybody's gonna finally realize that it's not about race, it's not about culture, it's about some evil people coming in here trying to rip people off. So um you know for so he's so for his type of, what, how do you explain it, Geraldo? If I can't call Obama an idiot, I call it idiot actions, idiot presidential actions, because I was listening to him on that. So I went and looked up and seen if he ever bashed the president, and actually I found him saying that Obama needed to grow a spine at times, or at a time. That's what Geraldo's own words. So I just wanted to see if he was ever negative to Bush, because a lot of people talk smack about him, and they all did that and were told lies to get Obama elected. It was a lie, part of the change lie. The how do you say that? How did they? What was their campaign run? Change and hope and change. So they didn't explain to people what exactly hope and change was, but they needed some hope and change, and then showed only that they are historically the biggest liars that ever were in American government, ever. The biggest frauds and liars, extorting people from their retirements to their health care. It's absurd. And it takes them these decades to maneuver against all of the right things to do to have people be able to have a family and move away from goofing off and being a target to would be in the world, what Obama thinks is his friend, or what he's trying to extend his liberal hand up as friendship to the terrorists who would come in and slaughter all of us. No matter how much money America gives to Iran and lets them have their money back or whatever, and we're holding now. I think the reason why is because they held our Americans hostage in '79 while Jimmy Carter was president. But um, no, I just forgot my point. I suppose my point. Um, they um they make stuff up though in the media and the news so that obviously they can get the Democrat in there. And um so Iran was stop payment or whatever their money that's held up. They're talking about giving them back is actually their money. I believe it's from them holding our hostages in '79, and it's just one liberal mistake after another. These people aren't that smart enough to screw everything up. Maybe they function to this point where they find, you know, to where maybe Obama does know what he's doing is the backward stuff. So then he has there's more credence to kick his ass over it, to really literally kick the shit out of him if because he's wrong. And what Jimmy Carter did and what the liberals all do, Clinton and all of them, and what anybody might even be mistaken to do, but this is what the Democrats are notorious for, is for pushing stuff, not caring if they're right or wrong. It's going to be their way or the highway, and we're stuck with it. So now they cram this thing in with the justices, and they're wrong. Gay people don't even care one way or another about being married or going and like that. That's a mockery to religious people. So maybe some of them do because they're evil. To just be evil, basically, trying to spit in somebody's face, preacher's face. Um, I just think that they needed more legal backing and legal support, and the government could have more easily done that instead of forcing religious people to think differently. And now you're gonna, take people out and shoot people now. Is that what you know? What I mean, that's what they did in communism. So why the hell not? Wouldn't Obama just take Christians out and just kill us all off now? Why, why dang it. So all Republicans, none of them. According to you, obviously, money talks more. Okay, so I just a message to Donald Trump, if he ever did listen to this. So it would just be, just keep your head square. I like to hear what you said. I like what you said. Um, uh, just keep a moral head and a square head on your shoulders. Don't get too cocky. Obviously, we're not stupid. We weren't born yesterday, and we all know money talks. So, Re- Republican governors and everybody else who is running has a statue kind of power that they built up in their careers and lives. They're kind of powerful people too, but obviously money talks. So I just wanted to tell him keep your moral head up on your shoulders, believe in Christ, and um, don't let them push you out of the party because you'll split the difference whenever it comes to election time. So don't let them push you out of your Republican position. That's just not right. Nobody's perfect, and if they would have the Republican Party squared away and straight, we would have a Republican president, at least right now, or before that too, up to now still. So I don't know, just some food for thought. So I want to know if we should defund science, where they're going out looking for other place where we can exist in life whenever we can't even take care of our own planet. So I would prefer them to put their time and effort and our money, our tax money, and the stuff less wasteful, and like the science that they do to prevent earthquakes and volcanoes that they think they might be able to detect. Um, that is science that I believe in. So I don't believe maybe necessarily defunding that. But if they're off in a journey trying to send a cosmonaut and astronauts out to space, and it gets too sci-fi and too weird, that's just beyond that. They can observe certain things and find a planet while they're out observing space in order to calculate if we're going to be under any kind of harm from a meteor shower or anything like that. I support that type of science altogether, but this mythical stuff that puts ideas of irrational thoughts into people's heads that they should change other people's minds on purpose and cram things and lie and then force lies onto people's children through schools and education. They're funded to do that. I think that's completely wrong. But they need to get down to the truth and just the basics of what's going on and protect us. So the science then and then with NASA also should be projected towards making that projectile that can protect the Earth and keep it from being destroyed. If something were to come out, but they're not going to take their focus on off of trying to find another planet somewhere and wasting our money and time doing that while we could possibly be destroyed or hit by something that they'll also admit might be there that we can't see because there's not enough effort into that. And if you see it and it's ultimately going to happen, there's nothing you can do about it. That's where religion comes out, and I don't believe there's an atheist in the foxhole. Just another quote. So I'll say it this way about Obama: he's the worst president in the America's history. The worst. He's the worst president ever to ever be president. And he got reelected too. That should ought to be investigated with the federal government to see how fraudulent that was, because I found out for years now. I've known that they've um, doubled their votes. And if you go out and hear this vote, hear this video, and you see this, and you don't believe me, you think I'm a liar. Go do your Democrat work and see if they don't ever try to pawn you into doing their evil demon devil work and trying to get a Democrat elected by cheating on the election, voting in several different places instead of one place, and stay legitimate. You don't have to necessarily tell them off to the police or anything, but I would at least confront them and tell them off and tell them how serious a crime I think they are committing against every voter if they do that. So they're not just breaking a crime against the law, they're breaking the crime against every other voter. And it's very serious, and they make me mad, so don't do that. So now the last thing we want to point out, I'm from Oregon, so Oregon's doing another devious, disastrous thing. It's law that now 15-year-olds can go and have a sex change without their parents' consent. This guy was that I watch these videos on YouTube a lot. He was saying that he likes to go here on Snopes, so it's on Snopes. So with parents group to oppose new Oregon teen sex change. I wonder how many people they were allowed to manipulate with this thing and totally broadside people with this because it starts before kids are accountable age, and it takes people's persuasion and somehow showing them things um, like if the boy is turning into a girl and he's gonna have this sex change and turning himself into a girl, he's being manipulated with other things by an adult and not um, you know kept on track with who he really is. He was born a boy. He's not a girl. He's not somebody else. And it's terrible and it's harmful to people. And now they're giving 15-year-olds can do legally in Oregon. So there's some research for people to do on their own. All I can tell you is this this adds to more abuse from the government. So people are like, yeah, we need welfare, we need this and that to help people out. Well, you're taking away from people who would seriously need help. Um, a medical procedure, emergency, um, or people who what welfare and what disability and other insurances and incomes were set up for, and they're abused so bad that now they want to talk about taking that away from handicapped people and just giving it exclusively to these changed people, these mutated people, you know. And that's where we've come to the point where the law now can legally, because they're the law, and they can do whatever they want to manipulate all these people, all these events, all these things. And it's funded by the taxpayer. So Oregon is on the brink of they're bankrupt. They basically bankrupt themselves from doing what if you would try to work out the best that you can a healthcare plan. Like Obama's a disaster. Oregon, if he would have did exactly what Oregon did, he would have bankrupted America probably quicker. Maybe if that's possible. I don't know. But at that rate, I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it. But they put Oregon into bankruptcy like California was over their electricity and other things that was a disaster for California whenever they hit rock bottom. So Oregon did it solely on healthcare, and um, it's such a waste that that's what they're doing in there. Now gone to the extent of this excuse, and in my opinion, solid opinion, I believe their manipulation to change people from whoever that person is, and if they want to try and say they slander religion and Christianity, but it's they never proved to me um, with the rational thought. None of them, not a single one of these guys who think Christianity is irrational is going to convince me that what they're talking about is helpful and doesn't actually cause the great Babylon like what is in the Bible. Um, just a uh, brew of trouble all inside, all every kind of trouble, conceivable misery thing you could think of. Is gonna translate, and they're gonna manipulate it through science instead of using science and medical procedures to save people. They're going to abuse it and put people on the back burner who have medical problems and say that the important thing to do is that we must alter this person from a man to a woman or whatever strange instead of counseling these people if they don't want to have Christianity or religion in their life. They have to talk to somebody to help them come out of their shell of who they really are, because they're not something else or somebody else. That's just ridiculous. It's manipulation from somebody else, from the mom, from the dad, or somebody. I don't see much from dads as I would from mothers, because mothers tend to be suckers, real big suckers for liberal type of bullshit that's just insane. Giving a 15-year-old the right and bankrupting everybody who goes to work on this, right? Everybody who goes to work, bankrupting them and saying, I'm sorry, your lives are ruined and changed forever now, because it was so important that we gave your 15-year-old the right to walk from your house to close enough down to this place. I believe they said it was in Portland. So if they lived in Portland, they could just walk from their house and they don't even need a consent form. They don't even have to ask from their parents. Now, they can just show back up, and how much of a problem could that possibly cause with people and their families? And, if you're mad at somebody, everybody in the world has problems. Somebody made you mad. Obviously, you have to wake up and realize at some point that um, they were manipulated and made mad too. I'm not saying forgive everybody for their sins and being evil at all. I'm just saying don't quit manipulating stuff. Quit manipulating it. You know what I mean? Why are you trying to manipulate me for? Who do you think I am? Why do you think you have the right to do this to individuals, cause them real troubles and real harm? And is it for a political reason? Is it for money? Are they doing all this stuff for money now? Does it come down to, making people richer and other people poorer, or what? It's just some of my thoughts. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. Thanks.